Have you recently found yourself on Zillow or Realtor.com looking at houses? Maybe you know you want to buy a house, but you don't necessarily know what to do next. If either one of those things are true, stick around, because today we're going to be talking about the 10 steps to buy a house. Hey guys, this is Cody with eXp Realty here in Lafayette, Louisiana. So you know you want to buy a house, but you don't quite know what steps to take next. Well, that's okay, because today we're going to be talking about the 10 steps to buy a house. And in these steps, you want to make sure that you follow them one after the other and don't skip around, because skipping around might cause problems when you get to the end of the process. Step number 1, finding a realtor. This is a natural place to start your search for a home, because you need an expert in your corner. You need someone that you can go to and ask questions. You need someone to be a shoulder to cry on. Emotions are going to be flying all over the place as you start to move towards your next home, and you really need someone that you can trust. One of the biggest things that I tell all of my clients is you want to make sure that the person that you're spending this time with and the person that's helping you find your next home is someone who you mesh with as far as personalities. Because, like I said, you're going to be spending so much time, and you're going to be on the phone, you're going to be in person, you're going to be in emails and text messages, and it's a big commitment. And it is a commitment on both sides. So your realtor commits to you and that they're going to do the best that they can to get you the house that you want. And on your side, you should commit to your realtor, because it's a big investment on their part to go out and show houses. And it's a big part to write the contract and put their name on that contract for you. So you want to make sure that the person that you commit to is one that you really enjoy being around. They should also know how to negotiate. They should know the process. And I mean, most of all, they need to understand the current market, because markets change all the time. The market that we're in right now is not the market that we were in last year. So they should be available to answer all of your questions and really be able to connect you with those experts if they're not able to answer the questions themselves. So that leads us to step number 2. Step number 2 is figuring out how you're going to pay for your home. So the biggest one that everybody thinks about when they think about paying for a home is a mortgage. So are you going to go to a mortgage broker and talk to a loan officer there? Or are you going to go to a bank or a credit union? All of those places are great places to start. Similar to your realtor, you maybe want to shop around and see if you can get a good rate with a different lender. There's a lot of different programs out there, and each lender will be able to make things work a little bit different. So you want to, similar with your realtor, as far as the lender is concerned, you want to find someone who's going to be in your corner and someone that you can trust. You definitely want to find someone who knows what they're doing as far as the money aspect of things goes. You want to find a reputable company, so a company that has really good reviews, because just because a lender provides a pre-approval doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make it to the closing table. So you really want to vet your lender. Now, we've talked about finding a realtor, we've talked about finding a lender. Now we need to talk about step 3. We need to figure out where you want to live. So I recommend that all of my clients draw X's on places like work and school and maybe their parents' house, in different places where they spend time throughout the week, because all of these places are really important in commute times, and nobody wants to waste time in the car. Like, I couldn't imagine driving 30 minutes to work every day. So we really want to figure out, where do you want to live? And are there certain neighborhoods that you're really targeting? Do you want to live in a certain neighborhood? So all of those things are important when you're trying to figure out where specifically in the area you want to live. I like to bring a map to the first showing when I meet a client, and even if I pull it up on my laptop, I'll have them draw me a circle around where you want to live. And it really helps me, because as long as it's inside of that circle, I feel comfortable sending that property to my clients. And that kind of brings us into step number 4, which is, what do you need, what do you want, and what don't you want in your next home? So a lot of people have different qualifications for what they need in a house. Some people have to have a home office because they work from home. Some people have to have fenced-in backyards because they have kids or pets. Some people have to have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And those could be considered needs. Those things could also be considered wants as well, similar to a pool. A pool could be something that you want, or it could be something that you don't at all want in your next home because of the upkeep or because of the expense. So those are things that you need to think about. And I do recommend writing out a list. Write out a list and send that list to your realtor, or talk about it on your first showing appointment. Then that brings us to step number 5. And step number 5 is definitely the fun one. You find a house, you're like, okay, I've got my pre-approval from my loan officer. I know that I can afford the house if we have to pay full price, and I want to go see this home. So you text the address to your realtor, and you both show up there. Your realtor unlocks the door and lets you walk inside. So this is the most fun that you're going to have throughout your home search. And it really should be a good time, because seeing all the homes and seeing what the market has to offer for the price that you can afford, it's a big deal. And you've taken the biggest step towards finding a home. Now, whether you look at one home or you look at 40 homes, it's still, you have to keep in mind that it is a process. So if you fall in love with the first house, and as you're going through and you're taking a look, I definitely recommend rating the houses. So I like to tell my clients to rate their houses 1 to 10. So 1 is you couldn't pay me to live here. 5 is I could live here, but it's not perfect. And then 10 is we're putting in an offer. So I have all of my clients rate every single house that we see. And it helps them kind of gauge what's going on. And I try to keep notes on houses that we've seen in the past, and we compare during our appointments. That leads us into step number 6. So step number 6 is going to be the feedback that you're going to give your real estate agent. So do you think the house is too expensive? Do you think the price is just right? Do the rooms feel small? Do you like the lighting in the house? Do you like the fixtures? Do you like the yard? All of these things go into pieces that your realtor can put together to help find you the perfect house. And if you end up liking the house, or even if you don't like the house, your realtor is going to provide that feedback back to the listing agent and let them know that, hey, we're about here, or you're going to get an offer because we love this house. And if you don't like the house, then your realtor is going to provide that feedback, and they're going to tell the listing agent why. And if it's because the price was too high, it might help that seller come down on their price for the next people who might like the house. So the detailed feedback as you can get is so important. All right, so step number 7. So we've started looking at houses, and we've gone through and we've given all of our feedback, but the next house that we see, we found the one. So step number 7 is writing a contract and getting your offer accepted. So as we go through and we're trying to figure out how much we should offer on the house, and we're trying to figure out what goes into our contract, so there's a few things that make offers weaker and stronger. And I do plan on making a whole video that goes into the offer process. But a couple of bullet points: it's going to be the length of your inspection and due diligence period. Obviously, the price of the house goes into it. The amount of money that you're putting down as your deposit, and the amount of time that you can close in are pretty much your biggest factors that go into how strong or how weak your offer is. So keep that in mind as you're out there looking at houses. What would I pay for this house? Do I really like this house? And if I like this house enough, do I have the money to put a big enough deposit down where they know that I'm serious? And that brings us into step number 8, which is going to be your inspection period. And during your inspection period, at least in the state of Louisiana, you're allowed to walk away for whatever reason. So I highly recommend that you hire an inspector, and you can go online and you can Google, you can ask your real estate agent for a recommendation, but you absolutely want to get that house inspected by a professional. because inspectors will look at plumbing, they'll look at electrical, they'll look at the roof, they'll look at all of the systems in the house, they'll look at your appliances. Some inspectors are structural engineers, so they'll even look at things like the foundation, and if there's cracks or cracks in tile, they'll be able to tell you whether or not it's a cause of concern, which is super important because obviously you don't want to buy a house and then have a whole bunch of problems down the road. So that inspection allows you to go back and be more informed. And there's some things that can come out of an inspection. So if the roof is really old and it needs a new roof, then maybe we have the seller lower the price. The seller could come back and say, no, we're not doing that. We've priced the house accordingly. And there's a whole bunch of different outcomes. But at least you know going into it that you had a chance to make it right. And then as soon as we get the okay on our inspection, so you're good with the things that are going on with the house, so there's nothing wrong with it, or what is wrong with it is minor enough, that leads us into the appraisal and the underwriting stage if you have a loan. So if you have a loan, your loan is going to move forward into the underwriting stage, which means they're going to look at your income, they're going to look at verify your employment, they're going to look at your credit history, they're gonna scrutinize everything, and they're gonna pick through it with a fine-tooth comb. And you want to make sure that any information that your loan officer needs, that you want to make sure that you get that to them as soon as you can, because the faster that you get that information, the faster that they can comb through it and approve it, the faster you can move into your new home. And then the other thing that's going to happen during this time is your appraisal. So even if you've paid cash for the house and if you've chosen to have an appraisal done, which is highly recommended, you want to go in, you'll have your appraisal. And your appraisal, if the appraisal is being ordered by the mortgage company, it's a third party. So nobody has any say in who gets picked as the appraiser. And that's a good thing. It protects both the buyer and the seller to make sure that it is a fair situation. And that's really what you want. You want to make sure that it is a win-win on both sides. And then that leads us to step number 10, which step number 10 is you're closing on your home. How exciting is that? So we've made it all the way through the process. We've got pre-approved for our mortgage. We've figured out, found a house. We've figured out how much we're going to pay for it. We got our offer accepted, and we've gone through the inspection. We've gone through the appraisal. We've finished the underwriting process. So now you're walking in and you're sitting at the table with the sellers, and you're going and doing a big round robin of all the paperwork. And it is a very, very well, it's so orchestrated, and it's almost art how fast they can pass those papers around. So the closer will sit and will talk you through all of the information. You can ask questions, and then you're going to sign. And at the end, your realtor is going to give you the keys. And I can tell you as a real estate agent, that is one of my favorite moments, being able to hand over the keys to all of my clients and say, here you go, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed helping you find the house. And that's pretty much it. So we've gone through and we've found a house, and we've gone through those 10 steps. So you want to remember as you're going through these steps that if there's something else that pops up, the steps might not be exact, but it's a good framework for purchasing a home. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. I can tell you that I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. And if there's anything that I can do for you, let me know. My name is Cody Jones. I'm with eXp Realty here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And if you liked this content and you want to see more, click the subscribe, like this video, and hit the bell down at the bottom so you get notified as soon as I post new content. I am planning on making this 10 steps to buy a house as much of a series as I can. I'm going to be posting a video once a week, so a video is going to drop every Friday. And if you need anything from me, let me know. I hope to catch you in the next one.